Longer than my remarks. Joy asked me to speak for an hour and a half today, and I know that's what you're all expecting. But I'm going to cut it down to about 10 minutes for a few pithy remarks, I hope. Of course, it's a pleasure and a real honor for me to be here today to address this committed and obviously enthusiastic crowd. This is a real celebration. I understand this entire program, the LCC, consists of 450 students from 45 different countries. That's truly impressive. First, obviously, I want to congratulate each of you, students and teachers, because I know from personal experience that mastering a foreign language, it's one of the most difficult challenges you can possibly step up to. And it demands not only the commitment of the students, but the commitment of teachers as well. Am I right about that? Yeah. In fact, I'd like to recognize the teachers. If you all would stand up so at least I can see you. Because I know that this is a real partnership that you've had, some of you, not just a few months, but a number of months working together with these people who have been your guides and mentors on this odyssey. So thank you, teachers, for your Together, you all have achieved something of great significance. Indeed, an extraordinary accomplishment and a life-changing accomplishment. As Joy said, it takes a tremendous amount of courage to leave your home, your culture, your families, and travel to a foreign country to pursue your education. That alone is impressive. And of course, as a U.S. citizen, I'm thrilled you chose to study in the United States. We have one of the most prestigious, top-ranked higher education systems in the world, and of course, we invite and encourage students from all over the world to come here to study with us, to learn about our nation, to meet our people, and to learn about our culture. More importantly, perhaps, I'm glad you chose the University of Houston, and I can offer you a few reasons that you're probably already well acquainted with. Let me just read off a few of these. The University of Houston is ranked among the best colleges in the United States by U.S. News and World Report. That's impressive. University of Houston is ranked number 4 in the nation for top 12 colleges where students get the best bang for their buck. That's impressive. University of Houston is ranked number 7 out of 49 top colleges in Texas for return on investment. University of Houston is ranked among the top 25 campuses in the United States with the most international students. University of Houston was named one of the nation's best colleges and the best 377 colleges in 2013 and the best 378 colleges in 2014. Those are impressive accolades. Of course, studying in the United States doesn't just give you a tangible degree or a certificate, as you all know. Your experience here in this program says something about who you are. Living and studying in another country, especially where your language isn't spoken, is challenging. Am I right? Oh yeah. It's challenging and it requires courage and a positive attitude. Sometimes these characteristics are even more influential than the degree you earn. I mentioned a few moments ago that I understand something about the challenges of learning a foreign language. As Joy mentioned, I've served as a career diplomat in the U.S. Department of State for almost 20 years. I've lived and worked in a number of countries and traveled the world with 2 secretaries of state. And I understand intimately the value of being able to communicate effectively in another language. And I know what it's like to spend hours and hours in class studying grammar and vocabulary. And it's not always a pleasant experience. Is it? Yeah. Before my assignment as an economic officer at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow in 2000, I had the opportunity to attend the State Department's language training program. We have an immersion training program at the Foreign Service Institute in Washington, D.C. At the Foreign Service Institute, we train in more than 70 languages and we test in more than 100 additional languages, or 100 languages in total. Because of the timing of my assignment in Moscow, I didn't get the full year of language training. I only got 6 months of Russian language training before my assignment and my duties in Moscow began. And I want to tell you, there are 2 things about that language learning experience that stand out to me now. Gosh, well over 10 years ago, that was in 2000 or 2014 now. The first thing I realized intimately was that learning a foreign language is a lot tougher than people think it is. A whole lot tougher. You know, initially when I started the language immersion program, I was really disappointed that I didn't get the full year of language training because I felt like I deserved that full year, but I was getting 6 months. Well, I can tell you, after getting into the Cyrillic alphabet, Russian grammar, and syntax, you know what? I had a huge feeling of relief I was going to be there for 6 months. That meant 6 months of 8 hours a day of studying language, hours of practice at night with homework, and it was a tough road for me. And as you know, as adult learners, we learn differently. A language that you learn as a fully engaged grown adult is much more challenging than the one you learn in your native country. My previous experience with foreign languages had been nothing like learning Russian before, believe me. In high school, I studied Latin and French. In college, graduate school, and my first assignment at the State Department, I studied Spanish and felt very comfortable in another Romance language that had antecedents in my own native tongue. Well, my experience attempting to master Russian in 6 months was a whole lot different and a lot more challenging. Probably something like what you've experienced these last months. The second thing that made that experience so memorable to me was arriving in Moscow and realizing just how important it is, personally and professionally, to be able to communicate in the dominant language of the country in which you reside. I'm sure everyone, at least the students in this audience, have felt the frustration of not being able to communicate your thoughts and your ideas with the precision and nuance you can in your native tongue. Yes. Sort of thinking like an educated adult, but perhaps speaking with the vocabulary of a child. Have you ever been there? Have you ever wanted to tell someone what you were thinking or feeling, and you're speaking like a 4-year-old? Well, I've been there. I've been there in a number of different languages, just like you might have remembered when you were there in English. That is a tough experience and a real growth experience. So I felt that same frustration you had. Later in my State Department career, I had an opportunity to serve in Iraq, as Joy mentioned. I was there almost 2 years. Sadly for me, I didn't have the benefit of language training before I went to Baghdad. My inability to speak Arabic made it difficult for me to leverage my professional experience and my knowledge to its greatest advantage. And even more importantly, it limited my ability to really appreciate the rich and diverse culture of that nation and its people. And that's what language unlocks for you. The good news, of course, is like any skill, like playing a musical instrument or anything else, practice makes perfect. So your facility will improve with practice and study, and of course, that is exactly what you've been doing here for a number of months, maybe even a year for some of you. Studying and practicing a skill that is going to transform your life and allow you to make contributions in this world you never dreamed were possible. And I guarantee that. Learning English is not the only benefit you'll derive from your studies here. You know, I can't tell you how many people I've met in my travels all over the globe who tell me about the fond memories they had of studying at an American university and how they cherish the deep connection to the United States that resulted from that experience. And that's what you'll have too. Not only the connection to the United States, but the connection to your fellow students. International education creates lifelong friendships between students, and it strengthens the bonds between nations, which is important. These connections are especially helpful in diplomacy, which is my profession, which is rooted, as we all know, in relationships between people, and which seeks to develop the same effective relationships between countries. Because the challenges that we face today, like climate change, youth unemployment, global health issues, they all transcend international borders. International education has become even more vital. We need leaders and innovators who understand what it means to be a global citizen and who have experienced firsthand the challenges of living in another culture, mastering another language, and understanding other points of view. Your success in this program is the gateway to global opportunities. We live in a multilingual, multicultural world. By being able to communicate in more than one language, you'll be able to seize the global opportunities increasingly available today. Your enhanced ability in English will allow you to compete with your multilingual international peers. That's important. Your commitment to mastering English will make you more successful in your academic studies and future career in the global economy, and you will have a profound, and will also have a profound benefit in the quality of your life, socially and intellectually. Your investment in learning English will pay dividends in terms of your intercultural experiences. Learning a foreign language is just not about being able to speak it, as you all know, but it's also about getting to know the culture of the people who speak it, including their attitudes and their values. By understanding cultural differences, you'll become more aware of your own culture and more appreciative of diversity. You'll interact better with people from different backgrounds and will adjust to new environments more easily. This set of skills and attitudes is highly desirable, not only in the global marketplace, but also contributes to a better world for everyone. The ability to communicate in another language develops a number of other important competencies, skills, and attitudes, which are critical for your success today and in the future. Learning English is going to help you become a better student now, a more employable graduate later, and a more adaptable global citizen for the rest of your life. By learning another language, you become a more effective communicator, both in writing and in speaking. Language learners, just like you, develop organizational and time management skills, attention to detail and observational skills. Language learners are flexible, able to work well with others, they're able to take risks, and are willing and capable of overcoming obstacles, all of which are valuable life skills. I guess I don't have to give you 50 reasons why learning English is important, because you already made that decision and followed up that decision with commitment and action. But I'll offer a few reasons why I think your choice to study English was a good one. English may not be the most spoken language in the world, but it is spoken in some 54 countries. And it's estimated that the number of people in the world that use English to communicate is 2 billion. That's a pretty large number of people. English is the dominant business language, and it has become almost a necessity for people to speak English if they aspire to enter the global workforce. Research has consistently demonstrated that cross-border business communication is most often conducted in English. Its importance in the global marketplace cannot be understated. As I said earlier, learning English will change, will transform your lives. Many of the world's top films, books, and music also published in English, which is important. By learning English, you gain access to a wealth of entertainment options and expand your cultural understanding. Most of the content produced on the internet, in fact, up to 50% of the content on the internet is in English. Mastering English will allow you access to an incredible amount of information that you might not have had access to previously. I could go on and on about what you're doing, why what you're doing makes sense, but I won't, because I probably would run into that hour-and-a-half presentation that Joy asked me to give. What I will do, however, is I want to challenge you to use your new skill. This fascinating, complex, and uniquely human ability to express your thoughts, ideas, and emotions in another language. Think about that. You're able to express your thoughts, ideas, and emotion in another language, like playing a musical instrument. And I hope you'll use that new skill to make a difference. Each one of you will soon be the leaders in your communities, in your nations, and in our world. I want you to remember that the future really is yours. As one of our first U.S. diplomats, Benjamin Franklin, said, "The noblest question in the world is, what good may I do in it?" And I hope that's a question that you're pondering right now as you're sitting here, and that you've been thinking about during the months you've been studying at the University of Houston. Because I think UH has given you the tools and experience you're going to need to return to your home and make a difference there and in the world. I wish you, each one of you, continued success during your academic endeavors as you plan your lives of service to your nation and to the world in years to come. Your dedication and energy give us, and personally me at the U.S. Department of State, confidence that the future is really in good hands, your hands. Thank you very much.